I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
Democrats and the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt.
Let's dive into the chaos surrounding Karoline Leavitt, the newly appointed, youngest ever White House press secretary, and the firestorm she's ignited. If you thought drama only existed in reality TV, wait until you hear about the clash between this 27-year-old conservative powerhouse and the outspoken hosts of The View. This isn't just a disagreement, it's a full-blown media explosion that has people on every side of the political spectrum buzzing.
No, it's not. So first of all, and I have had my objections to the job that Karine Jean-Pierre did, but she worked in politics for 21 years, 5 presidential campaigns, and worked in 2 administrations.
So here's the setup. Karoline Leavitt walks into her first ever press briefing as White House press secretary, ready to make history. And what does she do? She flips the script on everything the traditional press thought they knew. Not only did she call out legacy media for losing the trust of everyday Americans, but she also announced a new initiative to give independent journalists, podcasters, and influencers access to White House press briefings. That's right, she's shaking up the old system, and let's just say, not everyone is thrilled.
Karoline Leavitt, she's just 27 years old, but boy, was she giving it to the Trump haters in her first White House briefing.
Enter The View. The ladies of the long-running daytime talk show, known for their no-holds-barred opinions, couldn't resist weighing in on Karoline's debut. But instead of critiquing her policies or professional choices, Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg went straight for the personal attacks. And trust us, what they said has sparked a backlash so fierce even ABC executives are reportedly scrambling to contain the fallout. Let's start with Joy Behar, who wasted no time making one of the most jaw-dropping comments of the week. She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10, Behar quipped during Wednesday's episode. That's right, folks, Joy reduced Karoline's groundbreaking appointment to nothing more than her appearance. If you think that sounds dismissive, you're not alone. Social media erupted almost instantly with critics slamming the comment as sexist and hypocritical. One user wrote, if a Republican said anything remotely like that, they would be pilloried. Another chimed in, she got the job because she is qualified.
Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you.
But Behar wasn't alone in taking jabs. Whoopi Goldberg, never one to shy away from a heated debate, piled on with her own critique. What set her off? Karoline's remarks about wokeness during her first briefing. Specifically, Karoline declared that the Trump administration would no longer fund transgenderism and wokeness across federal agencies. Whoopi's response? She was livid, claiming that Karoline wouldn't even have her job if it weren't for the very wokeness she criticized. Without that wokeness, you might not have that job, Whoopi declared, pointing out that women weren't always invited to the table. She went on to argue that movements for equality are what made it possible for women like Karoline to hold positions of power.
Without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table.
Now let's pause for a moment here. The irony of this situation isn't lost on anyone. The same hosts who constantly claim to champion women's empowerment and equality are now tearing down a young woman who shattered glass ceilings simply because they don't agree with her politics. The hypocrisy? It's glaring. Karoline's supporters were quick to point out her extensive qualifications, which include stints as assistant press secretary under Kayleigh McEnany, communications director for Representative Elise Stefanik, and even a run for Congress in New Hampshire. One commenter summed it up perfectly. If I was a better human, I'd be embarrassed for Joy Behar, but she's so miserable, she can't even acknowledge Karoline's accomplishments.
Karoline Leavitt is the press secretary at the White House, doing a great job. Such a great job that the ladies of The View feel the green monster coming upon them.
Meanwhile, Karoline wasn't about to let these attacks go unanswered. In her signature sharp and confident style, she fired back, calling out the blatant double standard. The same people who preach about supporting women are the first to tear down any woman who doesn't fit their narrative, she said in a statement that quickly went viral. And she didn't stop there. Karoline hinted at legal action, reportedly considering a defamation suit against The View for their comments. If true, this could be a game changer not just for Karoline, but for the entire media landscape. And let's talk about the media landscape for a moment. Karoline's move to open up White House press briefings to new media voices has sparked a massive debate about who should have access to the halls of power. Traditional journalists are crying foul, arguing that this could lead to a flood of unqualified individuals entering the press pool. Sunny Hostin, another host of The View, called the move woefully deficient and unserious, claiming that influencers and podcasters don't have the credentials to be in the briefing room. But Karoline's supporters see it differently. They argue that this is about democratizing access and giving a voice to media outlets that have long been sidelined.
They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
One thing is clear, Karoline isn't backing down. She's doubling down on her promise to hold the media accountable, saying we will call you out when we feel your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House. And judging by the backlash The View is facing, her approach is resonating with a lot of people.
But even factoring in that she's a nice-looking lady, I love that the libs attacks on conservatives right now or that we're hot and cool.
What's particularly fascinating is the broader cultural divide this controversy has unveiled. Karoline's decision to spotlight independent media and influencers is being hailed by many as a necessary evolution in how Americans consume news. Younger generations, especially millennials and Gen Z, are leaning away from traditional media outlets and towards alternative platforms to form their opinions. By embracing this shift, Karoline is not only modernizing the White House press room, but also challenging the dominance of legacy media. This has infuriated traditional journalists who see it as an attack on their credibility, but her supporters argue it's long overdue. One viral X post read, "The media isn't losing trust, they've already lost it. Karoline is just holding up the mirror." Adding to the uproar is the fact that Karoline's reforms aren't happening in a vacuum. Her push comes amid a larger debate about media bias and its role in shaping public perception. Over the years, many Americans have grown skeptical of big media, accusing it of prioritizing narratives over facts. By inviting independent voices into the White House, Karoline is essentially saying, let's level the playing field. Critics argue this move could lead to a lack of journalistic standards, while her defenders see it as a much-needed shakeup in a system dominated by elite gatekeepers. The real question is, will this usher in a new era of transparency or open the door to chaos in the press room?
Speaking of Donald Trump, I'm stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job.
This tension is exactly why The View hosts have been so vocal in their criticisms. For them, this isn't just about Karoline's policies, it's about what she represents. A young, unapologetic conservative woman who is unafraid to challenge the establishment is, to them, a direct threat to the status quo they've long supported. It's not just Karoline's comments or reforms they're reacting to, it's the idea that someone so outside their ideological bubble could disrupt the system they've upheld for years. And judging by the growing support Karoline is receiving, it's clear she's struck a nerve, not just with her critics, but with millions of Americans who feel left behind by traditional institutions.
Bang, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
In fact, the fallout from this controversy has been so intense that rumors are swirling about ABC executives being in full-blown panic mode. According to leaked reports, producers are furious that what should have been a simple segment turned into a PR disaster. Sponsors are allegedly reconsidering their partnerships with The View, and some are even calling for Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg to be let go. One fan commented, "They need to cancel the show. They are so disgusting and immature. How they can make a career out of what they do is beyond me." But here's where things get really interesting. Karoline's supporters aren't just calling for accountability from The View. They want the entire show canceled. Sue them all, cancel that nasty show, one commenter wrote. And judging by the growing backlash, it's clear that this sentiment is gaining traction.
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on looks?
So, what's next for The View? Will ABC cut ties with its controversial hosts in an attempt to salvage its reputation? Or will they double down and risk further alienating their audience? And what about Karoline Leavitt? Will she continue to use her platform to call out hypocrisy in the media, or will she focus on her groundbreaking role as White House press secretary? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. The clash between Karoline and The View has set the stage for a much larger conversation about media accountability, sexism, and the role of independent voices in shaping public discourse. So, what do you think? Did The View finally go too far this time? And will this controversy mark the beginning of the end for the long-running talk show? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to stay tuned for more updates on this unfolding drama. Until next time.